Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things we're talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
arrived. To demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Radio. We have Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here. Let's check things out for today. See what we have to deal with. All right, right here we're at the 10th of September. We see one sign right here, and that is the sign of Scorpio. That is our moon sign. Scorpio is a water sign. Feelings, emotions. Then we have the earth sign of Virgo, which is the sun sign. So we have earth and water. We know how they can work together. They can work really nice. Earth can float on the water, can be an island, or the water can overwhelm the earth, and the earth can become all mushy and dissolve in the water. So it depends how they work together. That's the main important thing. So we try to find a way to balance out. Remember, the water is floating on the earth. The conscious mind is floating on the unconscious, the water. Let's make sure it doesn't sink by having too many feelings, okay? Water's feelings, emotions, things of that nature. Nothing else specific we need to be aware of. Triangle and square wise, move from here to our moon phase, 27% of the way full, making its way up to the full moon. Mayan Oracle, we're at the second day of this wave spell of the moon. Today we're at the dog. Dog's about the heart, love, loyalty. So today would be the lunar dog, guided by the wind. Moon is the challenge, or like-minded. Sun is the challenge. Dog is, or the monkey is the hidden power, our occult kin. Phrase for today is, I polarize in order to love, stabilizing loyalty. I seal the process of heart with the lunar tone of challenge. I am guided by the power of spirit. And today is one of those galactic activation portal days, because right here, this is in synchronicity with this little glyph over here. Okay, because remember there's the pattern. It goes out like this, and there we go. Over at Space Weather, the solar wind is 342.6 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is between 2 and 2. Big coronal hole turning towards Earth. We'll see where the wind is going to go from there. M-class and X-class flares the same as geomagnetic storm activity. So things are pretty quiet out there, even though we've got that big coronal hole facing this way. Move over for a little more insight on things. This is Suspicious Observers Report for today.
Good morning, folks. I'd like to quickly share last night's wind map. That is a 1,000-mile strong convergence of differing air pressures. Flooded the southwest edge with storms in Arizona. May do so again tonight up through Utah and other zones. Speaking of flooding, this is 13 months ago, and this is what the Amur River in Russia looks like now. This comes courtesy of NASA's Earth Observatory. Top story today is a Starwater concern, discussing the magnetic shielding of exomoons and potential habitability scenarios. A state that we are left at a familiar position, seeing few chances for benign conditions. The best, however, would be a large moon near the inside boundary of a planet's magnetic shield, but still far away enough from the planet to avoid too much tidal heating instability. The article, images, and 2 important papers are linked for you below. Comet ISON will follow up last night's ISON discussion with the latest photo to hit the CIOC. You can see Mars in the top right of the image there. The accompanying article is the first time I have seen pure speculation go out the window, and these experts officially stating that it will not be the comet of the century, just not brightening enough. Time will tell. Eastern Canadian coastlines need to be aware that forecast models all look like this for the West Atlantic development. Could be worse though. It could be Umberto headed that way. This storm is gaining strength very quickly. Going to be a major event wherever it ends up. We just aren't sure where that's going to be yet. Switching to space weather, cosmic rays in both the neutrons and muons have been on a steady rise for a few days. I've seen them higher, but the trend is the story, and I'll keep watching. Solar wind speed and density both within normal range. SOHO eliminates the one anomalous reading here. We're below 400 kilometers per second in plasma temperature, just under 10,000 Kelvin. Zero magnetic instability. That little bump on the flare chart is only a B4. This is pitiful. We are just barely seeing any sunspots on the disk. Magnetic connections at the inner planets. We will expect to see Mars stay backside and Mercury move across the Earth-facing disk. And if you can't visualize why that is, pull up the JPL orbital diagram I've got linked for you below. Folks, the earthquake watch is indeed back on due to this coronal hole. ISWA shows her power to have faded considerably, however. So without any locational foreshocking, space weather influence, or a change in its apparent power via ISWA, the watch will be capped at 70% for this coronal hole. So far, Indonesia's been rumbling the most. We got one of the most impressive surface features the sun's ever decided to show us to close. Jump, skip, cartwheel, collapse. Eyes open. No fear at 6:45 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
Alright, very good. Alright, so this week our theme is 9/11. Why? Because this is the week of 9/11. We're expecting all sorts of activity taking place this week, not only with the protests that are going to be taking place out at Ground Zero, but protests that take place across the country. And as we are hearing from the news reports like RT, news is getting out to the general public a little bit more about this being a false flag. See, as time has gone by and more people have experienced false flags, they have an opportunity to understand what they are. And as they're understanding what they are, more and more people are paying attention. Even though the mainstream media isn't fully reporting that yet, it is a start. RT is a good start, and we'll see where it goes from there. Now, we know we have a lot of things going on tomorrow. On September 11th, there was the Muslim march that was scheduled going on out there. There was the biker march. How it's all going to turn out, I don't know, because there were permits that were denied to, I heard, the bikers, and so are they going to continue on even though there aren't any permits, or did they get their permits? I don't know the latest up on that, but you know, a lot of activities going on, not to mention the wars and the rumors of wars we keep hearing, so we'll keep paying attention. But anyway, this is a piece here to bring your attention to 911truth.org, AE911truth.org, architects and engineers. Okay, right here, if you go to this site, it says more than 2,000 architects and engineers have now signed the AE911 Truth petition to Congress, calling for a new independent investigation into the World Trade Center attacks. By recently adding their names and reputations to the petition, the professionals who pushed us past the 2,000 mark in August bolstered a foundation of credibility and scientific knowledge on which the AE911 Truth effort is built. You can download the full petition signer list here. Okay? I'm going to play this piece for you first, Blueprints for Truth 9/11, the 10-minute piece here. You check out the website, but just let me give you this little intro. The reason that this is important, the reason why people should look at what's going on, because there was a major event that happened on September 11th, 2001, which was a false flag event. And many people in this country certainly do not want to hear anything about that, because they've been conditioned to believe anytime you hear something like this, it's coming from a conspiracy theorist. The conditioning has worked really good that so many people hear conspiracy and right away think, oh, conspiracy theorist, false. Yet many of these things prove themselves to be true over time. And of course, this is one of those. And things that have been pointed out from investigators right off the bat, that were dismissed by those who didn't want to look at anything outside what the government said. Well, they're now starting to find out there is some reality to what was being said early on. There was something to what the truth seekers were bringing forward. So what's important about this is architects and engineers build the buildings that we live in. They want to make sure these buildings aren't going to fall down. They were very concerned when they saw two buildings catch fire because of a plane up on a higher level and then collapse. They thought to themselves, how could that possibly be? How could that possibly be? Fire does not have that capability of doing that. Because in order for a building to fall straight down like they did into its own footprint, which means it falls straight down, doesn't collapse around other buildings and take other buildings out, that's a sign of a demolition. It doesn't happen with fire, because in order for that to happen, all four of the pillars, all corners and bottoms of the building have to be taken out simultaneously. Fire doesn't do that. All you have to do is put on your common sense hat and you'll realize fire doesn't do that. Look at a fire, how it burns, and you could see that it doesn't burn in any direct way. It's kind of random in many ways. So we need to be more aware. We need to be able to tap into our real sense of science. Some of these things we've learned in grade school. Some of these things we've learned in high school. We shouldn't be fooled by this event. It's only because of fear. And I'm going to play a piece that has to do with the psychology of 9/11 tomorrow or maybe the next day after. But this is the science of 9/11 right here. So listen to this with an open mind and hear the truth.
So much. My name is Richard Gage, AIA. I've been a practicing architect for 20 years, and I'm a member of the American Institute of Architects. Let's take a look at World Trade Center 7 now. It was 47 stories tall, what would have been the tallest building in 33 of our states. It was not hit by an airplane. Let's take a look at the evidence of World Trade Center 7 and see how it stacks up against the typical features of a controlled demolition, starting with, is there a sudden onset of destruction? Let's listen to this emergency word.
We were watching the building actually because it was on fire. The bottom floors of the building were on fire, and we heard this sound that sounded like a clap of thunder. Turned around, we were shocked to see that the building was, it looked like there was a shock wave ripping through the building, and the windows all busted out, and it was horrifying. And then, about a second later, the bottom floor caves out, and the building followed after that, and we saw the building crash down all the way to the ground.
Do we have a straight-down symmetrical collapse into the building's footprint? Let's listen to Dan Rather narrate this collapse for us as we take our first look at the collapse of Building 7.
Now we go to videotape the collapse of this building.
It's amazing.
Amazing, incredible, pick your word. For the third time today, it's reminiscent of those pictures we've all seen too much on television before, when a building was deliberately destroyed by well-placed dynamite to knock it down.
Let's take a look in this side-by-side comparison with a known controlled demolition on the right. Did the building fall into its own footprint? Pretty much so. Do we have demolition waves? And how do these remove the column support? Well, here's a floor plan of Building 7. Now, to bring a building smoothly, symmetrically into its own footprint without falling over, what we have to do is remove the core columns, because what we want to do is bring the outside of the building in on itself. Now, this involves a high degree of precision that fire is not capable of. Do we have a free fall speed of collapse through the path of greatest resistance? You can see second by second the building gaining downward momentum. You can plot the drop distance on a graph of time, and it fits the free fall curve almost perfectly. What does this mean? That the columns had to have been removed, and removed virtually simultaneously on each floor, synchronistically timed, so the building had no resistance virtually on the way down. Do we have a total dismemberment of the steel structure? We had a 47-story skyscraper compressed to 4 stories. Do we have sounds of explosions, though? How about Kevin McPadden?
This was a boom, and like you felt a rumble in the ground, like almost like you wanted to grab onto something. That, to me, I knew that was an explosion. There was no doubt in my mind.
Do we have enormous clouds of pyroclastic smoke from the pulverized concrete? Watch the concrete entrained in the air racing down every street in each direction at 35 miles an hour. Do we have pools of molten iron? Here is Building 7 at A and B, and here is the North Tower and the South Tower. These hot spots are 1,340 to 1,370 degrees. These are the temperatures of the hottest office fires. There was no fire on the surface of Ground Zero after the collapses. What are we measuring here? We're measuring the molten metal that was seen by these first responders. Let's listen to John Gross, lead engineer of NIST, tell us about the molten metal from his perspective.
First of all, let's go back to your basic premise that there was a pool of molten steel. I know of absolutely nobody, and no eyewitness who said so, nobody who's produced it.
You'd get down below and you'd see molten steel running down the channel rails. Like you're in a foundry.
Yeah, like lava.
Like it was
like
lava from a volcano.
No eyewitness who said so.
There actually melted beams where it was molten steel that was being dug out.
No eyewitness who said so.
Underground, it was still so hot that molten metal dripped down the sides of a wall.
Nobody who's produced it.
What is the problem here? Somebody's lying. I'm going to leave it up to you to make your own conclusions. How about chemical evidence, though? What produced all this molten metal? And what is thermite anyway?
Thermite. An incendiary used by the military, thermite is a compound of iron oxide and aluminum, which when ignited sustains an extreme heat reaction, creating molten iron. In just 2 seconds, thermite can reach temperatures over 4,500 degrees Fahrenheit, quite enough to liquefy steel.
Dr. Stephen Jones performed chemical analysis on the previously molten metal. Dr. Jones received no less than 4 separate samples of World Trade Center dust, some of it from Jeanette McKinley's apartment across the street, where the windows blew in and filled her apartment with dust. Another sample was found like 10 minutes later on the Brooklyn Bridge. Well, he takes this and he puts a magnet over it, and he finds that there are small particles that come up to the magnet. Some of them are angular, some of them are round. They look like this. If you had thousands of cutter charges going off in the columns and beams throughout the building, and they were under this incredible pressure, what you'd see is something like this. Tens of thousands or millions of tiny droplets. What's the shape of those droplets? When a liquid is dispersed like this, its surface tension forms itself into almost a perfect sphere. Would there possibly be any unignited thermite pieces in the World Trade Center dust? Indeed, he finds it. It also comes up to the magnet from his dust samples. Many chips. This one, 1/16 of an inch long, red on one side, gray on the other. The red side is composed of tiny iron oxide particles and aluminum. The Lawrence Livermore Lab came out with papers about this stuff. The particles being so small allow for almost instantaneous ignition between the two chemicals, the aluminum and the iron oxide, producing very explosive results. He continues his study and finds additional chips that are partially ignited, with spheres embedded in them. with Dr. Jones and his small team of scientists, through EDS, XRF, and WDS, identifies the components of these spheres and chips, predominantly iron, along with aluminum, oxygen, silicon, 1,3-diphenylpropane. The results, coupled with the visual evidence, he says, at the scene, such as the flowing hot liquid metal, providing compelling evidence that thermite reaction compounds were deliberately placed in both World Trade Center towers and Building 7. These results are documented in a peer-reviewed journal. Let's listen to what FEMA did conclude, because it is interesting. Evidence of a severe high-temperature corrosion attack on the steel, including rapid oxidation, sulfidation, and subsequent intergranular melting. Very interesting. Remember, office fires don't melt steel. What melted this steel? Capable of turning a solid steel girder into Swiss cheese, like this former wide flange column from the structural steel in Building 7. Now, they document this very carefully in their Appendix C. I believe we've shown that Building 7 matches all of the features of controlled demolition in the classic sense. Thank you so very much.
All right, that's Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. Little sample of their much larger piece. Check out the whole thing. It's been 12 years. 12 years since this event happened. There's tons of evidence that's out there. It's amazing that we still have a media that can lie about it, and that there are those who are unaware of what really happened. It's amazing. You know, I know we want to believe so many great things about the United States of America, how exceptional we are, but it seems the thing that we just are exceptional at is our ability to turn away from looking at information, to disinform ourselves. And you know, we're exceptionally stupid at times, and we need to get smart. How many times are we going to get fooled by the same events? How many times are we going to allow a false flag event to pull us into a war? It happens over and over and over again, and you would think that we get smarter, but we don't. And they do it again later on when the kids have grown up, and then the kids aren't any smarter because the parents weren't smart enough to know. And they have kids, and those kids grow up, and another false flag is done because the line of stupidity just keeps going. People aren't being aware, and they're not teaching each other. We need to teach each other how to be aware of those who are trying to fool us. The evidence is out there, folks. We've got to take this serious, because if we don't, look at the situation we're in. We're in the situation looking at another war and another series of war criminals that want to go off and fight another war. The world is saying they don't want this. Americans are saying they don't want this, but we have a media who is acting like the whole country wants this to happen. It's crazy, and it's all because we're not putting the pieces together as a whole. Yes, there are groups of people that are. There are many out there that are doing due diligence on this and other important issues that we need to look at. But still, we need to get smarter as a whole. There's too many people still doubting this. And again, ask a person who tells you about 9/11 if they can tell you what the 9/11 Commission report said, what the official story said, and they don't even know. They're just so conditioned to turn away from looking at any evidence that that's all that they know how to do. But they know nothing about what the report was and how they said it was set up to fail. None of that. They're just spouting back what they've been conditioned to do. And it's a shame that too many Americans are conditioned mentally to behave that way. I thought more people were mentally tough in this country, but apparently not. All right, that's 9/11 for today. There's going to be more tomorrow. Let's jump over to the UFO news.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. Today, 5 stories. Story number 1, this takes us to Maine. This was last month on the 25th. New amazing footage of a huge UFO sighting recorded in the night sky above Bangor, Maine on the 25th of August. Witness said they went out into the yard to record the stars, the moon, and the sky, and when they looked up, they saw a ball of light moving silently low in the sky. Northern Central Maine looked in the yard with the camera. Okay, so here's what was seen here. You can read the description, but the image just explains it all. Alright, so good shot there. This was in Maine at the end of August. Let's move from there to our next piece. This is above Memphis, Tennessee. This was just the other day at the 8th. This is okay. There we go. Nice clear shot. Nice clear day. Just moving across the sky. Okay. That's that one there. Let's go to the next one here. This is over Vancouver, also on the 8th. Witness scanned the sky for almost 2 weeks with no sighting. Then tonight I skywatched for more than 3 hours and nothing. I fell asleep on the couch and then was awakened by the TV, but it was on mute. I was dazed. I hit the volume of the TV and turned it off, fell asleep again. And they were gone. Looked outside, did a quick scan of the night sky, and there it was, just spinning and wobbling. So there we go. So we got a couple objects here, but this is the big one. That's pretty interesting, huh? Look how it's just moving. He said then a second object showed up in response to my laser. And it was quite prior to this, caught another orb that was blinking. So we've got plenty of things here, don't we? This one here, this one here. Looks like there's something up here. So enlarge this image and you'll be able to see a whole bunch of them. From there we're going to go over to Queensland. Now this was something I think we talked about the other day. This was daughter's boyfriend spotted this while driving from Nithol today, and was spotted while waiting at the road. This was the image above the cows. Here's the cows right there. This was the another report of the cow image. Alright, cows looking at the UFO. Now we're going to go one last one. This was over the sky of West Texas. Motorist records what looks like a large cigar shape with side lighting while driving on the highway in western Texas. The object is very odd and does not match that of any known aircraft. Alright, very interesting looking object right there. It looks like it has 3 lights, 4 lights. Alright, so there you go. That's our UFO news. I'll be right back. I got a bunch more for you. Stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth. People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Government should be afraid.
Alright. So I haven't played any of Charlie McGrath in a couple weeks, so I'm going to play a piece now. Listen to his perspective. You can hear him on Rents Radio or Wide Awake News. Anyway, in light of what's going on in the world, let's just listen to this. Here we go.
My name is Charlie McGrath. I'm the founder of WideAwakeNews.com and a host on the Rents Radio Network. Not all of our representatives are anxious to watch American men and women die prosecuting some kind of war against Syria. A lot of them don't want to see a bunch of Syrians get killed, so we teach Assad how to properly kill Syrians. Senator Tom Udall, New Mexico, American people don't want to be embroiled in a Middle East civil war. This is an act of war we are about to do. Representative Loretta Sanchez, California, it's not even clear that U.S. national security is at risk. Assad has not given any weapons, mass destruction or otherwise, to terrorist groups, such as the United States is with Al-Qaeda and al-Nusra, and Assad certainly isn't using any weapons against any of our allies. The minute one cruise missile lands in Syria, we are in that war. Mike McConnell, Texas says, once we hit, that is it, we are at war. Little wars lead to big wars. Nobody wants this. The American people don't want it. A big chunk of Congress doesn't want it. So why are we going to do it? Well, it's real simple. It's the same reason we've been in this war footing since 9/11. It's because it's by design. And at the end of this agenda is Iran. And we found out today when Dennis McConnell went on Meet the Press that is the end goal. See, all this talk about Syria in the last couple of weeks is about what they've done and how they did it and how we're going to respond. But now the cat's coming out of the bag. He's just a rung in the ladder to get to Iran. So when McDonough comes on Meet the Press and say, well, one thing this is going to do, we attack Syria, it's going to send a message to Iran that they don't have the freedom to pursue their weapons of mass destruction program. Oddly enough, all this hunt for weapons of mass destruction for over a decade, none have been found, and questionably none have been used, at least as far as been used against the U.S. or one of our allies. Certainly that has not been the case. Yet here we have McDonough once again bringing up weapons of mass destruction. We're jumping ahead to Iran. That is the end goal, the axis of evil. So we're going to see the tenor of this argument change. It's not going to be, oh, it's just Assad and we got to destabilize and tear him down. We're going to start to go back to see Netanyahu on the floor of the UN with his cartoon bomb showing us where Iran is on his cartoon bomb scale of having a nuclear weapon. Beyond belief, beyond understanding, I don't want another American soldier dead because we want to send a message to Iran. I want to send a message to McConnell or this administration or this Congress. Stop killing our men and women. That's my message. Stop killing our men and women. Stop killing millions around the world. Stop using contrived data in order to facilitate killing more people around the world. You are turning us into a desperate state. You're destroying our credibility around this planet, and you're taking integrity, something that once meant something in the United States, and you're letting it just slip away as if it was a bad debt. It's time to realize, America, we take this thing back. We take this nation back, or we sit and we watch it rot as the rest of the world applauds. Stories are attached.
All right, so you can see there's a lot of disgust with what's going on. But they continue to do it. That's their plan. Remember the article about the 7 places they wanted to go, the 7 countries? Iran was on that list. Iraq was on that list. This is something planned for a while. They're going ahead. If we read as we're going through the book of Revelation, we're going to hear about wars and rumors of wars. This is part of the plan. Americans need to wise up. Your country is not the same country it used to be. Your country is looked upon. This country is looked upon as a bully now. And that never used to be with the United States of America. And if you're an American living in this country or anywhere around the world, you should be ashamed of what we've become. This is horrible that we've become the bully of the world, that we go out and attack countries. It's not right. It's because we have men in office who shouldn't be there. The current man in office shouldn't be in office. He's a betrayer to the country. We don't even know who he is. The previous presidents were horrible, and so on and so on. But that's the precedent that we put. We put horrible leaders in front of us thinking that we're going to get something great. Well, you can't get greatness when you have someone that's not a great person in the office. We have to have greatness in the office in order to expect greatness coming from the country. That's the big problem. And there's a lot of great people in this country that could really handle the jobs that we have. But we're being stonewalled because we have too many problems, too much money tied up in corporate interests that affect the politics and affect everything that goes on. We've brought ourselves to this place, my friends. We need to get out of it. And what we have to do is we have to start thinking out of the box. We have to realize all the way we trapped ourselves. And we have to let go of some of the silliness that we've hung on to in order to be able to get the things that we want, which is the peace we want to have. Because this isn't going towards peace. They're going towards more and more war. They didn't say they want to go attack Syria and stop. They're talking about other countries. So this is going to go on and on and on. If you have kids, this is going to go on for a long time for your kids to see. As a matter of fact, with this going on, this could go on a long time for your kids to be involved in, because they want to put drafts back in place. I don't know if you heard the comment Charlie Rangel made about, need to make sure if we're going to commit boots to the ground in this, the draft should be in place. You got to pay attention, folks. We got to do something. They're killing us. They're killing us here. And the only thing that can stop that is when people wake up and decide, tired of being killed, tired of being lied to. Apparently we haven't hit that point yet, because there's still a lot of people who accept the lies. Maybe it's fear, I don't know. Here's a piece, though, that is encouraging. It says 10 signs the global elite are losing control. Karma is coming for the elite in a big way. As the powers that be head towards a devastating defeat in the war plans for Syria, signs are emerging that their rule over humanity is rapidly diminishing. Over the last decade, the global elite have been on a mad dash to consolidate power over the world. It's always been like their plan, like some evil villain in a comic book. But after 9/11, the plan went into overdrive and then turbocharged during the financial crisis of 2008. Yes, it's doomed to fail because humans are meant to be guided by their own free will, not controlled like livestock. The more the elite try to control humanity, the more entropy occurs. Entropy, for those who don't know, is the lack of order or predictability, a gradual decline into disorder. Although the elite are enjoying huge advantage over the masses, they are now resigned to behaving like tyrants to maintain control. This in turn exposes their dark side, which has been cleverly concealed for ages, but not anymore. People are waking up in droves, at least as fast as the elite can build their full spectrum prisms, the matrix. Let them try. To paraphrase Victor Hugo, no army can stop an idea whose time has come. So here's the 10 signs. 1. Official lies are no longer effective. The lies they tell simply don't work anymore. There was a time when official lies, especially those about war and peace, were believed, but now at least people are paying more attention. We have no confidence in politics. You as politicians have a paltry approval rating. The trust in government is at an all-time low. Mainstream media polls show only 10% of the public has confidence in Congress. In other words, 90% don't believe what they say. Congress, you should pay attention to that. 90% don't care what you say or believe you. We have no confidence in the media. We could see what the polls say about that. Bankers are being rejected. We've got Vatican abruptly cleaning up its act. There's mutiny amongst soldiers. The militarized police state. One of the darkest signs that the elite are losing grip is the construction of a militarized police state. Try to get more control on you. Therefore, we need the police to wake up so they realize how they are being used. We have serious succession movements are happening everywhere. A state succeeding from a larger political entity used to be an ultra-fringe concept. Until now, in America, succession movements are winning over the public in parts of Colorado and California. We got GMO food is being rejected everywhere. That's a good thing. People are paying more attention to what they're eating. And cannabis liberation. Many reading this will think marijuana legalization is a superficial development. However, it is a major signpost that the elite's grip is fading. Enormous resources have been spent to keep cannabis illegal, yet it's been a powerful medicine for physical, mental, and spiritual health throughout the ages. The single plant represents a huge threat to the power structures and their industries, hence its seemingly senseless illegality. The approaching global reversal of the tyrannical policy of prohibition is the first of many concessions to come. So, even though we have all this nonsense out there, the darkness which is going on, there's still positive signs out there. So we have to look to the positive signs to realize we are making progress. We have to continue making progress, okay? We have to continue with our beliefs. But I'm going to again remind you that this is a spiritual battle, and with any spiritual battle we have to look at what it is, what is our playing field. Okay, you've got the different levels of energy. You got the fire, the water, the air, and the earth. Each represent a different plane of existence. The physical level where we live right now is the compilation of all the energies come together in a physical form. Things are moving, energy is moving at a slow enough rate of speed. But you have the higher levels, the fire, the water, and the air. All three of these other ideals and ideas affect the physical. So if we're able to go into the emotional realm and work with your emotions, we can have those emotions affect the physical. The same with the mental, same with the spiritual. So the spiritual battle can be won by simply knowing how to go to the spiritual field to fight the physical battle, because we affect things there which then trickle down into the physical world. Is it making sense? It should, because it's just one energy level, the highest one affects the one below it. The physical doesn't affect the spiritual in that way, but the spiritual affects the physical. So things like numerology that we've been looking at is very important, because it helps us to understand how energy works. And since this is all about energy, the more we can understand how it works, the better. So I've been giving you a build-up about what all these numbers are and so on. Here's another site. It's called tokenrock.com, and you can get in here to study about numerology and what it's all about here, the 3 different types. And one of the things I wanted to go over with you is we had that system the other day I showed you where you chart out the numbers 1 through 9, and then you set the alphabet underneath them, A through I, and then you start the next row. So you have an alphabet where you have all 26 letters are assigned a numeric value. And then you go ahead and you can take your name and assign each one of the letters or numbers to your name and find out what your number value of your name is. One thing that's good to do is to find out what your life path number is. The way you do that is you add up the numbers for your month of your birth, if you know your time of your birth, and the month and the time you were born. And look at those numbers, add those up, and that will give you a clue to what your number is. So, let me go back here and see if we can find some of this for you here. Here, the life path calculator right here. Okay, it says the life path is the most important number in your numerology chart and is derived from your date of birth. It reveals the most fulfilling direction in your major lessons that are here to learn during this lifetime, gives you a broad outline of the opportunities and challenges you will encounter and the personal traits that will assist you on this journey. And shows you the way you go and do this. It's derived from the sum total of the digits that make up your birth date. By converting the month, the day, and the birth year to a single digit and adding them together, this total sum is further reduced by adding the digits until you get a single number. Okay, so in this case we've got January 5th, 1976, and we've got the 1, 5, 1976 is the 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 6, and you add them all together, and we come up here with this. Okay, what I like to do is I like to take it even further, and I like to get specific. So if you know your time of birth, you can add this into it as well. That way you can be real specific, because otherwise if you look at this date, for example, January 5th, this is going to apply to everyone born on January 5th. But if you can get real specific with the time you were born, you can really narrow in then. And all you do is you simply take these numbers here. You just simply take these numbers here and you add to it your time of birth, whatever it is. 155, so it's 1 plus 5 plus 5. And you would just add it into the mix. And just remember, when you get to the final numbers, whatever that might be, if it's a number that is a master number, which is an 11, 22, 33, 44, you don't reduce further than that. And if it is a number that is not a master number but is still 2 digits, you add those together until you get 1. The whole idea is you're constantly taking the numbers and reducing them down unto a single digit. It's called theosophic subtraction. Okay, you're taking and you're subtracting that numbers from each other to get to one single number. And when you do, you look at that number, and then you can go and you can look at different charts that talk about what the numbers mean, and so on. So here we have numbers. You can 1 tells you what 1 is, all the way across the top. You can look at them 1 through 9, and then 11 and 22 because they are master numbers. And you just go ahead and you just look through and tells you one life path assumes responsibility to be protector and provider for those you love. This says that as life path 1, you insist on the right to make up your own mind. And what you'll find as you go through these numbers, just like we talked about, the meanings are all going to be the same. 1 is always the same. 1 is the beginning. If you look at numerology or the Tree of Life chart to see where 1 is on there, or you look at the Mayan calendar and what the 1 is about there, or you look at the I Ching and the first number there, all systems across the board, you can find that there's a similarity in what they mean. Okay, and that's what makes it so fascinating, that you can go from system to system and find ways to put the pieces of the puzzle together. So if you think of them as lots of pieces to the puzzle, then you're thinking in the right direction. All right? So there you go, a little numerology, something more to study, find out what your life path number is, and learn a little bit more about yourself. All right, Book of Revelation. Today, Chapter 7. Here we go. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed in 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. And of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all the nations and kindreds of people and tongues, stood before the throne, and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes, and palms in their hands. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round the throne, and about the elders and the 4 beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces, and worshipped God, saying, Amen, blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving, and honor and power and might be unto our God forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore they are before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he sitteth on that throne shall dwell among them. And they shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in their midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living foundations of waters, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. Alright, so there you go. Revelation 7. We'll get to Revelation 8 tomorrow, 9, 10 on Friday, and then on Friday we'll do a review of all that we did over the course of this week. Alright? Alright, here's our Galactic Federation of Light message from Mother Mary.
Mother Mary, you are as big as the multiverses, as illuminated as the stars.
As channeled by Franz Apeda, September 8, 2013.
Mother Mary,
my dear ones, the peace in your hearts is palpable and growing, as you progress through your ascension process and your opening of your beautiful hearts for yourselves and all mankind. It is a beautiful sight to see, and I stand before you to tell you that you are so loved and cherished. You are learning to love and cherish yourselves on an even greater level and magnitude, dear ones, and for that and from that you will see much expansion. For it indeed does start with yourselves. Oneness begins from there. Peace begins from there. Expansion begins from there, and from there, all else is affected and nourished on out to infinity. My dear ones, you have come so far. Your progress is measured in the quantity and quality of love and light that you hold in your hearts, and by now you have an inkling of the expansion and magnitude of it. You are as big as the universe and as illuminated as the stars, and so you can feel the potential of you, the potential of how far-reaching your energy is and can be. Allow your energy now to expand as big as the universe, even the multiverses, and as bright as the stars. For you are all stars, and in your stellar nature, you possess so much potential for love and growth as you encompass your original blueprint of divinity. My dear ones, herald the coming of your magnificent stature in the coming days. Allow yourselves to be as big in your energy as you can muster. For the time is nigh to quit denying your essential nature and your essential potential. Yes, you are as big as the multiverses, as illuminated as the stars, and in your journey back to oneness, you have yet to discover completely the magnitude of yourselves and your divine potential. Your love for yourselves is beginning to equal our love for you, and in that, there is an explosion of growth in your vast landscape of your beingness, your multidimensional beingness. This is hard to fathom, and it is hard to portray for you in your words, as you must instead feel the energy I, with the company of heaven, am extending to you through this scribe and to encompass it within your very being. Allow this to absorb now, dear ones. I beseech you to absorb and allow this pure and expansive energy wanting to pervade your being in the coming days and weeks of your linear time. Accept for this moment that there is so much more existing and going on beneath the surface of your being, and within the energy of your surrounding environment. We are all becoming one with this increased energy. Can you feel it? So much of yesteryear is dropping away, like dead leaves from a tree, and just as those leaves make their way back to earth to replenish it, so too the energies of yesteryear, of duality, are absorbed back into the cosmos to emerge as bright and shining energy of new earth. You are creating this, dear ones, it is being created by all of us together, as we merge our love energy and bid the old energies goodbye for the advent of a new age. And you are ready for this, my dears, you are so ready. So accept this and cherish this and feel the new energies coming to you, and within you, with a new perspective and acceptance as your birthright in discovering your divine selves. For now and forever, all will be different. And so it is now, but as you take off your lenses of yesterday's beliefs and fears and perspectives, you will begin to see the shining new world that you have created. And I leave you now, dear ones, with these words of encouragement to relax and surrender and accept the new you, as it becomes true form with your minute-by-minute allowance of the reality of it. All my love is yours, dear ones, from my heart to yours. Mother Mary.
Alright, very nice. Nice message. So, let's see what our angel message for today is. The message is, honor your inner guidance and know that prosperity is coming for you now. Very nice. Honor your inner guidance and know that prosperity is coming for you now. It's a very good thing that we all kind of are hopeful for in our lives, right? Alright, so that brings us to our meditation. So, let's go ahead and close our eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale. I want you to imagine that you are looking in a mirror and you see yourself. And as you look, the first image you see is the image, the physical image that everybody sees when they see you walking down the street or out and about in life. But you look closer. And as you look closer into the image reflected back at you, you see more than just that outer reflection. You see something deeper. And the more you look, the closer you look, the more you see a part of you emerge that you hadn't recognized before. A part of you that you realize is a part of you that feels familiar. And as you allow this aspect of yourself to come forward, you realize that this is the true nature of who you are. That it's been hidden behind doubts and fears, but no longer. So imagine this reflection, this new you stepping out from the mirror and merging with yourself. And imagine yourself walking out in the world now, fully embracing this new aspect of yourself. And as you do, people around notice something different about you. You feel there's a calm and a peacefulness that surrounds you. And others seem to feel that calm and that peace. They seem to sense the love that you have and the compassion. And you realize that this aspect of yourself is an aspect of love and light that is shining now, because this is the time when love and light needs to shine bright. And so you walk through the world just being, and as you do, others take inspiration from your example, and they find the courage to stand in their own selves. And one by one, people around the planet stand in their own power, discovering parts of themselves that they have hidden away. And one by one, as people stand in their power, stand in the light and love and peace of who they are, the idea of love, of light and peace spreads around the world. And we think about all the challenges going on in the world these days, how we are on the eve of 9/11, an anniversary of a tragic event, and being aware of the concerns and the warmongering in the world, we imagine the word peace going all across. We imagine peace written across the minds of all of the leaders of the countries around the world. We imagine those in the shadow government behind the scenes and sending peace to them and sending light to illuminate their plans, their agendas. And as we send this light and this peace around the planet, all of the darkness is illuminated. And all of the evil intent is eliminated. And peace takes hold, because the majority want the peace and are now taking efforts to make sure the peace occurs. So let's just imagine sending out peace and love, and imagine the planet wrapped around in this color green from the heart chakra of love, with the word peace superimposed over the entire planet. Imagine the word peace superimposed over every individual upon this planet. And let's just imagine this word, peace. Peace. And know that we can have peace on this planet, because it's truly what we all want. So as we go into the world today, let our subconscious mind continue on this journey of peace, looking for peace, sending out peace. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it. Thank you, my friends, for being here, for checking out the show. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Just keep spreading the peace around the world. There's, as you know, there's a lot of fear attached to this day coming up. But let's send out peace and love to see what we can do to counteract all these fears and not get caught up in all of the illusions that are going on. Remember, we have a say in what takes place on this planet. The powers that be may have their agenda, but guess what? Doesn't mean they're going to succeed. We just have to keep sending out the love and the peace, and that will counteract all of their plans. We've got the power. We are the people. There's more of us than there are of them. Let's just keep remembering that, my friends. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day. Peace. I'm out of here.